Hello! Today we're going to talk about LLCs in the US and debunk some myths we often hear during our consultation. What is an LLC? Before diving into the myth, it's important to understand what an LLC is. An LLC, limited liability company in the United States, is a very flexible legal entity. The most common use is a pass-through entity, meaning the profits and losses of the LLCs are passed directly to the owners, who then report them on their personal tax returns. It's similar to being self-employed, but with a formal business name on top. This structure has become very trendy, especially among those trying to escape high social security self-employment taxes. But is it actually beneficial for everyone? There are many myths and misconceptions about US LLCs, especially if you live in a high-tax jurisdiction country. Let's clear up some of these myths. Myth 1. An LLC is perfect for residents in high-taxes countries. If you live in a high-tax country like the UK, Germany, Italy, etc., your worldwide income is subject to those countries' personal income tax, or RPF. That means the profits from your LLC will be taxed there. And depending on where you live, it's up to 45% in UK, around 42% in Germany, and around 47% in Italy. In these cases, a European company with lower corporate tax rates like Cyprus, Bulgaria, or Malta may be more attractive. But remember, you need a real economic substance like employee, a director, an office space to justify this to your tax agency. And even then, if you take the money out of the company, it's still pretty painful. To optimize, you'd leave the money inside the European company, reinvest it into stocks, property, interest-bearing assets, without extracting it into your personal account. Then, maybe in a few years, if you leave your country, you could potentially withdraw it tax-free. Myth number 2. I don't need to do accounting. That's only half of the truth. Yes, in some US states, LLCs don't require accounting. But as a tax resident of any high-tax country, your local tax authority requires you to maintain records of incomes and expenses for your foreign business. Because the tax office can ask you how you calculated your profits, and they can reject expenses they don't consider related to your activity. So yes, you need accounting, even if in the US states doesn't require it. Myth number 3. It's anonymous. No one will know. It's anonymous to the public, but not to financial and tax institutions. To clarify, if someone Googles your LLC, they don't see who owns it. In contrast, in a French SAL or German GmbH, ownership can be more transparent, and in some cases, certain financial information may be accessible. However, since 2024, several international information sharing regulations have kicked in, which make it easier for French or German authorities to get details. Also, when opening a European business bank account, your details are automatically reported. Myth number 4. If I keep the LLC at zero profit, I won't pay tax in my country. People think, if I just leave the company with no profits and use a company card to pay for everything, no one will notice. Even if your company shows no profits, there are several mandatory tax declarations. As mentioned earlier, non-deductible expenses, cash withdrawal, or personal use of the company funds do not count as valid expenses. Ask yourself, can I legally reach zero profit? Almost impossible. So forget about paying with your life just using the company's debit card. Myth number 5. I can invoice without being self-employed. If you're working alone and living in a high-tax country like UK, France, or Germany, you generally need to register as self-employed as you trigger a permanent establishment. There are exceptions if you're using Amazon FBA and they fulfill the orders, if you hire freelancers outside your country to perform the services, and if you spend significant time outside your home country. When can an LLC be useful? It can be useful for online businesses in early stages. If you're making a small amount, your personal income tax won't be too high. LLCs are cheap to start and maintain. We offer online courses to help you do this with minimum cost and stay compliant with legal changes. If you're living in a low-tax or territorial tax country, and if you're planning to move out of a high-tax country, having an LLC ready can smooth the transition and improve tax efficiency, since you're taking your business out with you. You can also note you don't need to be a US citizen. You should not spend many days per year in the US, and you should not have employees or permanent office there. If you're thinking about changing your tax residence or want to optimize your business structure, book a call with us. Links are in the descriptions and tags. See you on the next video.